Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show. Today we will be painting
these John Carter inspired.
What do you mean inspired?
Well,
They are.
The beastie is a Thoat and the rider is a Thark. I know they're hard names to get used to, a little bit confusing. But for you John Carter fans, if you're digging these miniatures, I suggest you run on over to Bronze Age Miniatures and give them a look-see.
They are good.
The riders are white metal and highly detailed, really nice. This is the one I'm doing. He gets the cooler one. Show the camera. Just the riders, so they get a nice good look. He got the cooler pose, the cooler weapon assortment.
Well, you could have bought two.
Yeah, I didn't want to buy two of the same. And
Doesn't yours have a gun?
yeah, he has a gun and a sword on his back.
Yeah, yours has a gun.
And the lizards, the beasties themselves are resin, and they are going to require a bit of work, getting rid of mold lines and bubbles and things like that. It took me the better part of a couple of days to assemble them after filing and milliputting the edges. And I didn't do the best job on the milliput, but I think with the paint and everything else that they're going to turn out pretty spiffy. As you can see, I already started with the harness and the headgear and all that stuff, just to show the little guy kind of what I'm kind of shooting for with what colors where and those sort of things, so that I can actually get on to painting the scaly green lizard hide. Actually, that's actually for the Tharks. The scaly green lizard hide and their underbellies, and he's going to start doing the same stuff I did with the the harness, the saddle, the little bedroll there, and
It doesn't take paint very well.
Yeah, it's either I put too much primer or it's just the contrast paints are, they're a little touchy to work with. I had to give it kind of like two coats, and I set some really good brushes aside for you. I don't know. Oh, they're here. I can use just about anything. Like I was telling a little guy a long time ago, I actually started painting miniatures with toothpicks and needles. That's all I had. I didn't know that.
So by a long time ago, you mean right after the channel started?
Yeah, I told him that. Yeah.
That's a long time ago. You're right.
Well, for me it is.
No, I mean it actually is. I don't like that.
Yeah, we've been doing this almost 2 years. Speaking of which, we will be having our 300th episode. We're going to try and do something special for that. But just to let you guys know, the episode numbers that we have are like 2 off. I don't know how and where I did that, and I've just been too lazy to go through and renumber every video. So at episode roughly 298, it's really our 300th episode. And so we're going to try and do something special for that. I have no idea what. It's still a couple of
Or you
weeks.
can, just delete some more videos.
and we'll try to do something special for that episode, which is awesome because, like you guys know, my birthday's coming up this month also. So for me, this is going to be a very, very special month, and I'm going to take full advantage of it.
Well, this is the contrast yellow.
Well, that's the color I used here.
I know, I thought, because we actually do have a...
Yeah, the orange is actually a shade, technically, but it actually, I liked it because it has kind of
it's because there is actually an orange contrast now.
It's, yeah, okay. It kind of has an ugly look to it.
But I wasn't sure if we had bought it yet.
It's got kind of an ugly, worn look. When you put it on there, you'll notice it just looks kind of grungy. And,
That's what you want.
Yeah, because these guys, they're nomadic,
Even though they wouldn't. Well, they might be nomadic, but it's Moors.
Yeah. And they go from, like, ruined city to ruined city, and that's where they'll hang out there for a while and, live it up in the city for a while and then move on somewhere else.
Well, who built the cities then?
I'm not exactly sure. They kind of try to make it, mysterious, but more than likely the Red Martians lived there, or maybe the Therns. You know, the guys with the white skin.
Because everyone's just a different color of Martian.
Yeah. There's the yellow ones, the black ones, the green ones.
I didn't even know there were black and yellow.
Yeah, there are. I think both the yellow and the blacks live in the northern and southern poles. And it's
is it
icy.
Is it really hot in the North Pole?
No.
Because it's really hot in the rest of the planet.
No, it's actually got an ice cap.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's weird too, how Burroughs, actually kept up on things like that and actually knew enough about.
Well, I mean, he didn't know that much.
Right. Well, yeah.
Like he didn't know that it's cold because when you get farther from the sun, it's cold.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. He was awesome. He's fast becoming one of my favorite authors, as you guys can guess.
How do you go from being
I was talking. I forget who I was talking to. I think it was Travis or someone else on Bruce's channel this afternoon, or was it last night?
Okay, I think this is.
You got a water cup right there.
Oh.
Get them both in there. That Roger Zelazny is my favorite author, and when I was very young, I got to meet him and hang out with him for a while at a book signing, and everybody else, they got their autograph and boogied on out of there, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna hang out with this guy, and he didn't mind, and he was very nice and encouraging. I told him I wanted to be a writer and not just a dungeon master and stuff like that. He was very cool about it. Unfortunately, he left this world way too soon, and the weird thing is the way I found out about it was there was this Lord of the Rings trading card, collectible card game way back in the day. A lot of you guys probably remember and still have a lot of those cards. I wish I didn't get rid of mine. But I saw a card one day, and it was actually talking about how Roger Zelazny had passed, and I'm like, you're kidding me. This is how I find out? Through a freaking card game? And I will be washing this lizard, but when I use
the color used for the metal?
Yes, it is. So you're just gonna mimic what I did?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I appreciate that.
I don't want to see.
That way, they look like they're part of the same horde and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's just.
And that red contrast paint, as you can already see on there on the saddle, it really.
I mean, it looks better when it's not dry, but yeah.
It really, it already has that sort of like if you were to put a wash on it look.
Well, that's the whole point of contrast.
Yeah. It's actually, a lot of people don't like this particular color of red contrast, but I actually do.
I think it's very good.
Yeah, we both have had some good experiences with it, and the little guy learned from one of the guys at our local games workshop.
The guy.
Yeah, the guy. That's right. There's only one guy. There used to be another guy, but I don't know whatever happened to him. But the trick. What was the trick he taught you?
That if you put contrast paint over metal, it becomes that color. Not just that it just becomes that color, but it becomes a metallic.
Yeah. Well, what color did you experimented? He actually made a splotch test of pretty much every metallic.
Every possible combination I could get, because I'm on. There's multiple quests I'm on in life, multiple of which I don't really want to describe, but one of them is to find the perfect shade of red, metallic. And so far, can't find it. There's a very specific color I'm looking for. I have this box, and I don't know how I got it, or where I got it, who gave it to me. I think it was in a Christmas present. Maybe it was just they put money in it or something.
What do you think? Is that the right color, you think?
Yeah. And it has, circular patterns. It's, metallic red, and it, if you move it, the color and the tone changes drastically. It's just how lighting works. But it has these circular patterns that kind of shift around, and if you're looking at it from a certain angle, it's the perfect metallic red. It's the best shiny red I've ever seen. and I want to replicate it, but I don't know how.
Gotcha. I did not know that.
Yeah. Whenever I'm looking for a perfect red, that's the red I'm usually thinking of. Because I think that my favorite version of red is either pure red, like just turn red to 100, or add a tiny bit of blue.
See, the little guy knows way more about color theory than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because you don't know much. It's hard not to. Most people do. Also, I took an entire class that half of it was about color theory.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh.
Yay for the local school that you go to for imparting that knowledge on you.
Yes.
I've watched a few videos on color theory, and I usually get lost about a minute in.
Yeah, I mean, color theory is something that I have a very particular interest in.
Yeah, he does a lot of artwork on the side. It's not with a paintbrush.
I haven't done much yet. Or not for a while. Last thing I did was a long time ago. Even though I've started working on a few things. Just never
Well, you did
finished
that great picture for our Martian, not our Martian, but our sci-fi.
And I was going to do one for every single one after that, and then I just...
stopped.
Yeah.
You'll get back to it.
Yeah. I just want to get better.
Oh.
What?
Dang it.
No, you poured too much?
No, I poured the wrong color.
Well, I guess that...
I'll just do a little paint on the Thark here if I can. Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
Just the
the
remember that thing we saw yesterday?
No.
Crayola?
Oh. You want to tell them about it? Because it's kind of funny, but some of our viewers will get a kick out of it.
We rode over to Walmart. Well, not just Walmart, but to a bunch of other stores. To a dollar store. A bunch of places like that.
Yeah, we had fun. It was a nice trip.
And we were going through Walmart, and I was just looking around, and I saw this box of, like, crayons or something. I didn't really care.
They were crayons.
Yeah, they were crayons. But then I remembered, wait, didn't I see something like a weird box of crayons before? What was it? And I looked, and like, why are all these crayons, why are all these colors very specifically I don't know exactly, I'll just say it. They were the colors of the world, a box of Crayola crayons that were specifically a bunch of different skin tones. Yeah. That was it. And
there's nothing wrong with that, but it would be better.
It kind of reminded me of that Celebrate Our Differences thing. The artwork was pretty similar, but at the same time, my memory isn't that good.
The only problem I had with it is not the colors, that they're trying to be woke and all that, but the fact that there's no blues and greens and reds and,
well, the entire
actual colors you would use. So basically, the
entire point of it was just, hey,
look how woke we are.
No, the entire point of it was, I think partially maybe, but I think the point was, hey, kids are they don't have a color when they need to do humans. Well, they could just use, I don't know, like, any other colors that exist that are options.
Yeah. A regular...
But let's make something specifically for that.
Well, not only that, but if your kid... If you bought that box of crayons for your kids, and that's all they had, they could only draw naked people. Seriously, you got 64 colors of various skin tones.
No, it's like 10 colors.
But no blues and no
no
reds.
It's because I guess they have things like that. I don't know.
Just a little too,
I don't know,
trying to get some brownie points or something.
I don't even know that would work. I mean,
I'm the only.
I think we're the only two people who've ever even seen it. Because, or maybe it was like a big thing that I just didn't care about because I don't.
It was just like trying too hard, Crayola. Just relax. We like your colors just the way they are. Just give us a 64 count. Give us.
Honestly,
black,
the crazy
white,
art is superior, but
I wouldn't know. I haven't used a crayon.
I haven't used a crayon in a long
50 years, probably.
Yeah.
As soon as I could, I went right over to colored pencils. I really like colored pencils better.
Yeah. I just don't use colors in most of my artwork in general.
That's not true.
Well, digital, yeah, but the entire point,
yeah.
the only reason I use digital is just so that I can add color to it.
Right. Okay, without my glasses, this is about all I'm going to be able to do on this. So, at least I didn't waste it. You know what I could do his head. Poor guy. You know, I need some water. So this is too thick.
Because the majority of what I do is on paper. And whenever I do that, I don't use... for a while I used markers, but then markers were...
Markers are absolutely garbage.
Yeah. And then I think I used pencils, colored pencils. Then I just decided to stop using colors altogether.
And he knows, he can tell you. The only reason I use colored pencils is for my Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, my world maps. I go out of my way to make them look really primitive, like, you know, someone from thousands of years ago actually drew them. It's got kind of a cartoony style, you know.
Hey,
sort of
by the way, where's Madagascar?
You stop. Just stop. I'm not a whiz at geography. I almost said geology, which would show you just how much I know about geography, because I don't know the difference between the two. It's just not my thing, you know. I studied other things,
Well,
or paid more attention to other things growing up, and geography just wasn't one of them. It's a shame too, because I've traveled a lot, and I should be better at it, but I just.
Oh, yeah, you should.
I just don't pay attention, you know.
I like maps.
I
look at maps all day.
He literally does. I like.
Honestly, awesome, because my class has the tables have like whiteboard. You can use, I guess, because they didn't want to give kids more. They didn't want to pay to constantly giving kids whiteboards. So they're like, you know what? The desks are now
whiteboards.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
It's actually a good idea. Well, it's actually a very bad idea, because then you'll have people like me who just draw on the desk
all day long instead of doing your work.
No, not all day long. But at the end of class, I'll just draw maps.
But they're the United States or the world or something. Not like me, where they're maps of places that don't exist in reality. But yeah, you should see this guy. He's constantly doing things with maps, and
yeah.
We saw a couple of decent ones at Hobby Lobby this weekend, but they're just
they're
just not good enough for what he deserves and wants, and you know.
Well,
he was looking at a globe, and I'm just like blown away, because he's like, oh, such and such place is in the wrong exact location. I'm just like, what? I don't even know where that place is, except the fact that you're pointing it out to me. You know, I've never heard of these places.
Yeah.
But you know, the longitude and latitude lines were covering up places, and he's like, you know.
Well, no, it wasn't the longitude and latitude lines. Is that the thing for the equator was cutting the thing in half, but it was, I couldn't entirely tell if it was just a disc around it and those things underneath it, which then is actually straight up bad, because it's covering areas around the entire map, and then there's the other possibility that it's just stretching it out, which makes it no longer a sphere, but also makes it so that they line up to each other, but they might not. So it's incredibly weird. Most globes have that, I don't think. And sometimes you see a ball that's a map, and then it's just cut in half or something, split in some weird way. And I mean, most maps like that are incredibly bad, but they're not meant to be good. They're just like, hey, here's 7 islands, and throw it around. Because it's just some sort of tennis ball or something.
Kid's too smart for his own good. Or at least for me to keep up with half the time.
That just reminded me of this really, really dumb person that I saw. But, no.
I'm almost at the point where I'm going to have to stop, buddy. I'm going to pass you up this time.
Yeah, because...
Because I started, you know.
Well, yeah, you did, but...
Right after dinner and Bruce's show this afternoon, well, he was painting on his chill stream, and I'm like, I I can't paint yet. This thing isn't dry. You know, and I wanted to kind of show it off to him, but I'm hoping he'll see it watching this video. If you guys don't know, I'm talking about Bruce Lombardo, Dick's Division, and the Table Breaker guys. They were all there too, and it was another great show just to hang out. And, you know.
Were you actually there?
Well, I didn't go on. I was, like I said, I was trying to milliput and epoxy this guy together. I did his first.
I was looking at maps.
And he was looking at maps, and I really wanted to go on the show.
Yeah, I think I was.
And I was also, watching Max this morning. He was doing Max from Legion of Myth was talking about Heroes Unlimited, one of my absolute favorite games of all time. And I wanted to tell him, I actually use Heroes Unlimited in a lot of my games, but I don't really do the superhero thing with it. I actually use it more for a sort of a Star Warsian sci-fi space opera that has nothing to do with tights and superheroes. They're just heroes, and because they live in a sci-fi universe, they all have access to high-tech science and things that could give you powers. And nobody wears tights in any of my games. If they do, I advise them otherwise, because that's just most people don't realize why superheroes wore tights in the first place, and that was to emulate the characters and performers of the old circus days back in the like in the 1920s and stuff like that, where they wore the tights and the flashy costumes so that like the acrobats and the trapeze artists and people like that, so they could be seen easily and be flashy.
What was the point of that? Clothes weren't invented.
And to be flashy and overly dramatic and just to be spectacular. A lot of this was pre-Hollywood.
That reminds me. Never mind, actually.
So my superhero games aren't really superhero games. They're more like almost like Flash Gordon or something like that. The old versions. Like
Flash Gordon was kind of.
Yeah, well, not the '80s movie one that we just watched, but the old. I think it was Dell books and some of the other comic books where everybody kind of wore like. Just like the old, I was telling him about the old John Carter comics and stuff, where instead of everybody running around in G-strings and metal bikinis, the original John Carter like comic books, they dressed like the superheroes of like Superman, underwear on the outside and capes and things like that. That Edgar Rice Burroughs never wrote that way. He it was.
So where's the is this?
What color are you looking for?
Brown.
Oh, no, it's actually leather brown by Army Painter with a little bit of water to thin it out and make it easier to work with. Oh, you did it right. You did it exactly the way I did it. Awesome. Check this guy out. I've been teaching him to paint the higher areas, like here on this lizard. Show him yours. The leather strapping has got metal, rivets or what have you, and right here. And I'm teaching him to paint these higher raised areas first because it's easier to go around them later, and it doesn't obliterate the details of those things. Because like if you paint the leather brown and the buckles brown, then you got to paint the buckles over the brown with like sometimes a white, then your gold or brass. The water's right there. It's still clean.
Red water.
It'll still clean the brush. Oh, to add to the brown?
Yes.
Go ahead and use it.
But it'll make the brown.
No, it won't.
Want it?
No, almost.
Oh,
it's an illusion. I do it all the time.
No.
So I teach him to paint the raised higher areas first, so that the detail doesn't get obscured by layers of paint, and it makes it's easier to paint around those little small details, for me at least. With your paint, especially like if you water it down, you can just like dab it near it, and the paint will just go around the edges and things like that. Speaking of which, because it's officially spring, we're going to need to get out.
What?
You need to guess. What do we need to get out? Because we're not using it now, and we should be.
Springs.
No. Because it's going to get hot.
The fan.
No. You're on the right track.
Wait, what?
The wet palette.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, you know what? I'm adding a lot of water. Maybe I should just break out. We make our own wet pallets. You know, there's a lot of good ones out there, but they're all
can't
based.
afford them.
Well, not something we can't afford them. I'm just cheap when it comes to anything
We
that
don't
I
want to afford them.
Yeah, I'd rather buy a new miniature than an expensive, fancy Tupperware container that I've already got. You know, the most important part of the wet palette is really the parchment paper, the baking parchment paper, you know, that we use to make the wet palette. I could go out and order an army painter or somebody else's wet palette, but you know, it's $20 plus shipping. End up running me about $30, and you know, I'd rather just, you know, buy a new book or buy a new couple of miniatures. And you know, I bought a roll of baking parchment paper about 2 years ago, I think it was, and I'm still using it. You know, still using the exact same package of paper, and I don't see any point in buying the spongy stuff that a lot of those companies, you know, recommend, because I've actually heard bad things about some of the sponge paper or whatever they use, and I'm just like, you know what? I tried it out with paper towels, worked fine. We tested our design. You know, it was actually not our design, but it was Uncle Adam from Tabletop Minions. He showed me. He was the first guy, you know, in a video to show us how to make a wet palette. It worked out just fine, and you know, we tested how long the paint would stay wet. It was you know, a good long time, like 4 or 5 days. We could go back, and the paint was still wet and usable. So I'm like, you know, this works. Why waste the money? And you know, not only that, but if I actually bought it, I would buy it from Miniature Market, because you know, their prices are fantastic. Except that anytime I go to Miniature Market and I make an order, I always
spend a lot of money.
I spend $100 because that's how you get the free shipping, you know. And since I'm an old guy, I know that's how they get you, is with the, you know, the high price on shipping.
Wait, is this meant to be for us as well?
Those little dots, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I won't do them yet.
See, there you go. You can check it out.
Okay.
You're doing a great job. When they're done, it's going to be hard to tell who painted which one. So that's
I hope that's the case.
yeah, that's what we want, because you know, when we actually use these in a game or something, you know, we want them to look like they're part of the same, you know, Thark horde. God, that sounds weird to say.
It does actually sound very weird to say. But not as weird as a Thoat.
Yeah, that's just a weird word. And you know, get used to that if you're gonna, you know, follow along with us this month and read some other.
I think just get used to that if you're gonna follow along with us in general.
Well,
especially in the future.
I'm reading, you know, I'm trying to read all of Edgar Rice Burroughs' books. I'm not in a hurry, but I didn't read the Carson Napier series growing up. I did read Tarzan, I did read John Carter, but that was like the extent of it. And I've read a couple other books and series by him, and you know, a lot of it, you know, is, I'm not gonna lie, it's very similar, but he had that, you know, he had that pulpy style down. He had, you know, in a way, he almost, you know, mastered it, you know, better than a lot of other people.
Is the next one?
What you probably want to wait on these straps until the orange dries. You can go right on to green if you want.
Okay.
Here, get yourself.
Actually, no, because we should do the higher up areas first.
The what?
This.
Oh, okay. That this area right here is hemp. I think it's right here. And I watered the hemp down a lot because when I did these, because doesn't that look like rope, like just a bunch of rope?
Oh yeah, it most certainly is just a lot of rope.
So I watered it down like a lot, just so that it would really go into those little nooks and crannies, and.
Actually, I don't think I should be using this because it's very yellow.
Yeah, well, you want me to get you fresh water? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, give me the cup.
Oh.
I'll go get water. It's okay.
Don't you have water in there?
Yeah, but my water's...
there?
Oh, yeah, but no. I'll just get water.
Okay.
Just take a second.
Okay. Did you water down the other green?
Which green? For the skin?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, take like 5 seconds.
'Cause I'm just about done to where I can't paint anymore on him. Do you still want to use this? I would use a smaller brush, a pointier brush because it
This
will.
brush?
Yeah, sure. Because but not to mix it. Just use one of these toothpicks or the end of the. Just use a toothpick to put the water. No, not for the water part, but for the mixing of the water into the paint. Just take your brush like this much. Don't worry. Just mix it in so that.
That enough water?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, you're just. You'll.
That good enough for water?
We'll mix it up and see if it's really runny.
Okay, maybe get rid of this. Okay, pull it up is just better.
I have a feeling I should.
Most definitely it is. What happened?
When I did the helmet part, some of the gold paint, got onto the eyelids, and trying to go over it with this green, I can still see the gold under it, so I need to put white down first.
That's bad. Well, it's not bad, it's just not good.
Do you have the skin green? The scaly hide?
Yes.
A lot of times I joke about the names of the paints, like scaly hide or, Games Workshop's weird, really technical names that go along with their IPs and stuff. But sometimes it's actually helpful. Like this, scaly hide. That's what I'm looking for. And did I say what I was going to do with the wash on these? I don't remember. I passed it.
I can't remember if you did. I mean, you probably did.
Yeah, if you guys remember last month when we were doing the Giants, I really watered down the Army Painter Blue wash because I just wanted it just in those little nooks and crannies and those crevices, just very, just a very light version of a wash. So I'm going to do that with these guys too because I want, with these John Carter miniatures, we're going to have these guys that are green, the lizards that are green. I've got a Woola here is a different green. I've got an old Heritage lizard that's a different green. I don't know if you can see that and see that. Now, I'm going to be using a lot of greens, and as you guys know, if you've watched our channel for any amount of time, green is like my least favorite color. It's probably one of the colors I use the most, but it's literally one of my least favorite colors to use. I don't own any green clothing. I don't own anything. That's
I was
green
gonna make a joke,
money,
and I was, I was okay. So you can get out of that. I was gonna make a joke, but I was thinking so hard on the combination of letters I was going to use that I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
And oh no.
Careful.
Wrong one.
But yeah, I'm just not a big fan of green. I'll use it when it's appropriate, and I'll be happy to do so. But, if I had my way, I would just paint everything black.
I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen.
But yeah, I'm really loving these miniatures by Bronze Age, and I was warning the little guy. There's some miniatures that are clearly adult miniatures, but we're not gonna bring any of those out. You know what? I am gonna bring this one out because it's just kind of funny. I don't know if you guys could be able to see it, but it's one of the only miniatures I bought in this order that wasn't a John Carter miniature. It's actually I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's pretty much Red Sonja as far as I'm concerned. And he thought that she was.
Wait, isn't it not that? Didn't you? How did you get that in an order of?
Well, because I looked through the whole catalog of miniatures.
Well, I thought you just looked through the catalog of
John Carter.
Yeah.
Bronze Age. No, I looked at every miniature.
I looked at everything.
Just in case I saw something that I liked that wasn't in that section, just to help Dave out. I'm gonna put this here so that when our camera person comes back, we can get a close up of it. But I wanted to, you know, just give them the benefit of the doubt and look through the whole catalog, and I saw that, and I'm like,
Okay, where's the...
the what?
Oh, nope, not done yet. Oh, wait, I am. Am I?
I don't know. Do you need to wash the brush?
No.
Okay. Well, rinse it.
Wait.
Scaly hide?
Is it this one?
I don't know. Which one are you looking for?
This is Scaly Hide,
Then
correct?
that's what you need.
And
That's,
Army Green is the...
Is that what it was? But yeah, I wanted to go through the Bronze Age miniature catalog, see if there wasn't anything else I might, you know, want to get with the order, because I made a pretty big, you know, spendy order, you know, almost a Kickstarter's worth of miniatures, and it was definitely well worth it. Got them in, you know, I think 3
Didn't you
days.
spend like $30 on it? Or more.
$30?
40, 50.
Yeah, these guys right here, the Tharks and Thoats are like $38 each with the, you know, for the pair. The Green Martians are $15, which I think is actually a steal. The things like Red Sonja here, or John Carter, or some of the princesses and the harem girls and stuff like that are, I think they're $8 a piece, which is, it's a little steep compared to what I'm used to paying for Reaper miniatures, but I always buy Reaper miniatures on sale from a couple of guys on eBay, so I'm paying like $4, and I know that's, you know, that's a steal, but I usually buy, you know, miniatures from the Chronoscope line of miniatures from Reaper.
Isn't that just not anything that isn't fantasy?
Yeah, and it does have some, you know, some good miniatures. That's where my Doc Savage came from, and you know, there's a lot of, you know, just oddball characters that we've used, like the private investigator miniatures. You know, there's just all kinds of stuff that aren't just classic D&D miniatures.
Hypercube.
But I really like that line of miniatures, but I like, you know, pretty much anything made by Reaper except the White Bones, which Bruce and I were talking about, you know, because we're running out of dragons to paint, and I was asking the guys on his chill stream today, you know, what they recommend, and you know, a lot of people are going, you know, 3D print, man. And I'm like, yeah, we'll get there, but, you know,
we have a 3D printer, we just don't use it.
Yeah, we don't know how to use it.
Yeah, there's one thing I want to make for it, for a project that for the project that I'm working on.
Right. But, you know, I was asking him for ideas of miniatures, you know, to paint, and I think it was Shadzar who showed me like a really cool, I think it was an Afridi or a Jinn miniature. And now, mind you, it was the old 25mm scale, which, you know, I like, but, you know, I'm trying to, you know, there's only so many miniatures in that scale. I mean, they're basically a finite number. Almost nobody makes them in 25mm anymore. And so everything is really small and just doesn't work with, you know, the current, you know, focus of 28 or, you know, 32 type millimeter miniatures. I want, you know, bigger stuff. My eyes are going, and you know, it just makes sense to leave the antique miniatures off, you know, on a shelf or in a box or, you know, whatever, and just, you know, leave those alone unless I really want to play a game of Galacta or something like that.
I wish those miniatures were bigger.
Yeah, I really do.
They're all really good miniatures, but can't really use them.
Yeah, they're you know, not epic scale, which we were also talking about today, but they're good. They're, you know, good classic sci-fi, you know, hokey Star Wars rip-off-ish looking kind of miniatures, you know, with some Dune and other influences in it. But I think we're gonna have to start looking at the Reaper metal dragons, because, you know, we've had nothing but bad luck with the Reaper white plastic bones dragons. The one or two that we've done are wilting, and you know, I love metal miniatures, and you know, we are kind of running out of dragons. We've done a green, we've done two undead dragons technically.
Technically, yes, but one of them was just, okay, we give it a wash, we give it some eyes, and my work is done here.
We've done a red, we've done a green.
I mean, we could have done that. We could have done that.
We've done a blue. Did we do a white dragon?
Yes, we did.
And you know, so maybe we'll just start looking at some Reaper dragons or some big Reaper monsters, or, you know, maybe more giants until the Archon Studios get here. so that we can keep doing a Dragon of the Month. Maybe something like that. I don't know. We're gonna have to look, this month, so that we can have something for next month. But let me know if you guys have any suggestions. I'm pretty much done for the night. You can go ahead and finish, slapping it on. And remember, like I was asking earlier, but see where I left him white on his underbelly.
Yes.
Try to do that so we can maybe do some wet blending with the two different colors later.
You're right. Should have done that. Just go over it white.
Yeah, but just hit up the paws and the neck, and then we'll just call it a night, because it is Sunday, and he's got school in the morning. Real quick, now that our camera person is back, can you really focus in on this one? Can you see that? Do I need to? Can you see the camera shaking? For no, you suck. Can you see that really close up? Yeah, it's Red Sonja. If you look on the website, you'll see the way he painted it. I don't think he gave her red hair, but I was looking for a Red Sonja miniature. Don't ask me why. I actually, I'll tell you. I saw a really awesome, like 70 or 90 millimeter scale Red Sonja miniature that someone got and showed it off on Facebook, and it was like $28, but the only place I could find it was Etsy. I don't really know Etsy very well, and I looked, and the only other place I could find it was on eBay from a guy in China, which is even more sketchy because it's a resin miniature. And I actually have an old Superior Models 90 millimeter Red Sonja, but it's worth like $200. I'm not gonna paint it. I wish my buddy would cast me a copy of it in white metal so that I could paint it, but the lead version is just it's literally an antique, and a $200 miniature is not something you want to mess up.
Probably the dumbest thing I've done all year.
Touch the paint?
No, lift it by the head.
Oh yeah, please don't do that. Because
Yeah.
the head is one of the weaker connection points.
Yeah.
But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 2 Thoats ready for action. I think they're coming out really good. Hopefully we'll be able to
report you to the SHRD.
Hopefully we'll be able to mix them up and do the shell game, and I won't be able to tell which is which, and neither will you guys.
Probably we will, though.
Just because of the head position.
Yes, but not the head position.
But I hope you guys like these minis. Here, let's put our riders on top just to.
Which I haven't done a single thing with.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. We're gonna, because this is a little bit different. We're probably gonna end up using all 4 Sundays, or 5 Sundays of April to work on these, because we're really pushing ourselves. And the little guy's getting a lot better, folks. I mean, he's just. In another year, I'm just going to stop painting and let him do it all, because he's getting so good at it. But I hope you guys will really go, at least just go look at Bronze Age, and let me know what you guys think, or let Dave know in the contact section, because I really, really like these miniatures, and I waited way too long to get more of them. I made an order like 5, maybe even 10 years ago, and I really wish I would have bought them sooner, because then I'd have them all by now. But until next time, folks, thanks for stopping by. We love you guys, and everybody we chatted to today, Max and Bruce and Kai and Travis and I think James and all of our other, friends out there. You guys made this a great weekend, and we really appreciate all of you guys. Oh, and Jade too. I don't want to forget him, because I forgot him before, and I feel really bad about it. And Cigar DM, and I could just go on and on. So
yes, you could.
We're gonna say good night, folks. Have a great week, and
good night. Bye.
Bye, everybody.